Okay, I think this is quite an interesting one. It's certainly one that's been rattling around my brain now for some considerable time. Years, not months or days, years, this one, and I'm still not quite at the bottom of this one yet. So, let me try and get on with it. Moral arguments, right. When we have moral arguments, I'm not talking about the meta-ethical arguments that we might have or anything to do with that. I'm talking about the typical day-to-day moral discussions that take up 99% of the moral discussions that we have. Religion plays a part in some people's moral arguments. Let's say we're talking about a subject. Let's take hot subjects such as gay marriage or euthanasia. Some religious people's perspective. Everybody of a religion has a religious perspective, and that is supposed to inform their morality. Some religious people choose not to let it inform their morality and just stick to arguments outside of the religious sphere, though how exactly you do that I don't know. But many religious people accept and will happily state that their moral position is informed by their religion, that they're against gay marriage because their religion, their God tells them that homosexuality is a sin, or that they're against euthanasia because their God informs them that every life is sacred and we have no right to take a life, so we have no right to assist another in taking their own right. And what most of us tend to do from a secular perspective, whether we are without religion ourselves and in a secular perspective, or with religion but prefer to keep religion out of these arguments, from a secular perspective, we ask those people to leave their religion at the door. We say, I don't share your religion, so why should the moral framework of our society be based on your religion? I reject that, so you shouldn't be able to bring that to the table. And that's the basis, that's the bit that I'm finding slightly problematic. And I'll explain why in a minute. But before I do so, it's probably fair to call a spade a fucking spade, and to say that, let's get down to brass tacks and what lies behind that. If somebody's religious perspective, regardless of whether I share it or not, if it happened to be true that deity existed, that deity's divine commands were objectified by its deistic decrees, if it did have the qualities that they are claimed to have, then we would have no justification for telling them that they have no grounds to bring their religion to the table. So getting down to brass tacks then, what we're saying when we're telling religious people not to bring their religion to the table is that in some ways what they are saying is bullshit. Either their God does not exist, or the qualities that they claim for their God is wrong, or by their God possessing those particular qualities, there is no way that agent could possibly arrive at those kinds of moral statements. Something along those kind of lines, but we don't like to do that, do we? That sounds a little bit rude to go that far, to say, look, basically what you're talking is bullshit. Let's stick to something that isn't bullshit in terms of framing the morality that's going to apply to everybody else. So instead of that, then we have this kind of line which I mentioned, which is, well, I don't share your religion, so you shouldn't be imposing your moral statements based on your religion on me and on society at large. But this is the thing that I find problematic with that. How does that not apply to just about any argument upon which you base a moral decision? Say, for example, that we're talking about, let's say, gay marriage, right? And I say, well, you can't bring your religion to the table because I don't share your religious perspective. And they say, well, what's your position on gay marriage? And I say, yeah, I'm quite happy if two gay men, if two lesbians want to get married, yeah, that's fine as far as I'm concerned. And they say, well, Jim, what's your decision based on? And I say, well, my decision is based on empathy for other people, for allowing other people the same kind of opportunities in life that I would like in life. It's a case of treat others as you would like to be treated yourself. Now, here's the problem. What about if they say back to me, well, I don't share that perspective. I don't think that morality should be based on empathy. I don't think it should be based on a principle of treat others as you yourself would like to be treated. So I don't think that you can bring that argument to the table either. Do you see the problem that I'm getting at here? It assumes that there is some kind of common ground that we can base our moral decisions on, and let's hope that most of the time there is some common ground. But if it's okay for me to wave away things that aren't common grounds on the grounds that I don't hold them, then on what grounds can I deny anybody else doing the same when the grounds that I use to justify my moral positions are not the grounds that they use to justify their moral positions? How do we differentiate between those two things? That's the question. I really don't know what the answer to that one is. I'd be interested to know if anybody has gone a little bit further along the line with that one than I have. Well, it's good to be back. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.